That's the cod. What now? The cod.
The canned ham.
Canned ham.
It's a 10-foot travel trailer.
Hey there, Gene.
Howdy.
Now, this is strange because you really am on this side of you.
Yeah. Y'all ready?
We're ready.
You ready?
I need some makeup.
Yeah. Fix your hair, Gene. Got to put that
A
right.
little lipstick on.
Yeah.
All right. I think we're live. All right. So welcome, everybody. We got a special this afternoon. Man, it's going to be great. We got Tracy and Gene that's joining us from Just Dig It Farms over in Alabama. That's right, Alabama. But they're in middle Alabama, so we're going to give them a little leeway there. Good friends of ours. We became good friends in the last year. Just love them to death. They have a YouTube channel called Just Dig It Farms, but extremely, extremely interesting people and just good people. And we want to talk about some things tonight that Tracy has to offer that is very interesting to us.
Mm-hmm. We got to go to her house.
We got to go to her house, spend some time with them, and I was blown away, to say the least. Yeah,
I was a little jelly.
Jelly. I had gardening. Yeah, but they're joining us tonight from the
Canned ham.
Canned ham at Cog Hill, because they don't have internet, so they had to run over their friend Jason. Jason set them up in his Canned Ham podcast studio. Mm-hmm. So we're glad to have y'all. Man, what's been going on?
Oh man, just trying to keep things alive right now. We're not getting any rain. No rain at all for weeks.
It's raining right here now, and we've had rain for the last few days, believe it or not.
Wow. We have none. Our grass is like hay.
Yeah. So Tracy, you're the gardening expert, right?
Yeah.
Gene is the homesteader guru, right? He's the goat bee man and all that kind of stuff.
He's a weekend warrior.
Weekend warrior.
He's the money maker.
The money maker. There's always got to be a money maker.
Got to be a money maker.
So Tracy, tell us, because I'm really interested in your background and the way you think and the way you do things. Tell us your background of horticulture and where your journey of where do you got where you are now.
Okay. Well, I didn't grow up with a garden. I probably was in college before I realized a tomato didn't just come from the grocery store. But I didn't grow up growing a garden. So I did apply to go to Auburn University, but I was not accepted because my score was not high enough. You know, that side of my brain didn't work that well.
Hey, I'm with you on that one.
But I had an art scholarship to Atlanta. So I went to school there, and my first degree was fashion merchandising and design. And I was there for a little while at art school, and we dated in high school. So he came to Atlanta riding a Greyhound bus and saved me, brought me home.
More than once, huh?
Yeah, exactly. He was going to school in Montevallo for business. So I came home and finished my degree at a community college in Birmingham. It was called Southern Institute. And then I went back to school and got an advanced interior design degree. And I worked interior design for quite a while, for a good many years. Mostly it was commercial design, doing hotels, motels, stuff like that. Boring. It was boring to me. So then I went back. Well, actually, I fell in love with herbs. Gene took me to this little herb shop where this older gentleman, it was called Good Sense was the name of it. And this older gentleman grew all of these amazing herbs and sold them for like super cheap. And he took me by there one day. It was in Foley. And I just I was hooked. I fell in love with herbs. So he built me a little herb garden. And that's all it, well, it started little. Okay. It started little. And that's all it took. Once I started getting my hands in the dirt and growing herbs, and then it was flowers, then it was vegetables, then it was fruit, then it was just, I couldn't find enough space to grow stuff. And at that point, I decided to go back to school and get a landscape design degree. And I realized I wanted to do outdoor rooms. I wanted to use my interior design and landscape design and create outdoor rooms. And I realized real quickly that I didn't have enough plant knowledge to do like what I wanted to do. So I decided to find me a job at a nursery. And Petals from the Past in Jemison, Alabama has always been my favorite nursery. I've gone there since he started the business, which is what, 25 years now he's been in business. So I went to Jason and said, hey, you want to hire me? He was like, yeah. So I went to work for him, and that was probably the best schooling I've ever had, because that was just hands-on knowledge from some of the best horticulture people that I know. Dr. Powell is his father, and he was the fruit specialist and professor at Auburn University. And when he retired, he joined Jason at Petals at the nursery. And Jason and Shelley both have master's degree in horticulture from Auburn and Texas A&M. And I just fell right under their wing. I worked there for almost 12 years, and I learned everything I could possibly learn from them. And they're my mentors. So I just studied under them, and I was hooked with that little herb garden. That's all it took.
So what made you decide to do the YouTube channel?
Well, education and teaching is just one of my passions too. And I just love to share what I know, whatever I know, I just want to share with everybody. And at Petals, that's part of the foundation of the nursery it's an educational nursery. So we held classes there. They still do teach classes there. And I was always a part of teaching those classes. I taught the permaculture and sustainable classes and all the design classes there. And I'm a talker. I like to talk. So I love to share and to teach. And I decided that YouTube would be a great way to do that. When we first started our farm, my initial goal in wanting to do the farm was to have an educational farm where people could come to our farm and learn, hands-on learn. I got the idea when I went to a permaculture farm to learn about permaculture, and that's how they did it, and that's the model I wanted to follow. But then we realized real quick that we really didn't want so many people at the farm all the time. So anyway, YouTube just became a really good platform for us to be able to share education and knowledge and inspiration. I just want to be able to inspire and help people, because I truly believe that the garden, for me, the garden is a refuge. It's a sanctuary, it's therapy. So I just want to be able to inspire and help people to get into the garden and to grow food and to.
And she has inspired us, would you say?
Yes, I would.
Yes. Greg came home and ordered a truckload of rocks, cut down trees, and we kind of in a standstill.
We're having some, may need some counsel on a couple of issues in the design process.
Oh, really?
We're going to work through it.
Oh, so, yeah.
Sounds like to me your and my path was similar. I was probably more on the I didn't work for a nursery, but I was in the business, the horticulture business, all my life with agriculture as well.
Yeah.
So we have similar, but mine was probably scaled up a little bit more than what yours was, as far as we did big landscape projects and things like that, landscape management and things of that nature. I didn't really get into the nursery part of it. But I will admit that was always something that was on my to-do list. I love nurseries, and that was always something that I envied, but I never really did get to participate in.
Yeah. I loved working there. I loved it.
So we have different ways of doing things. I garden what we call on the flat, like in a quarter-acre patch. Everything's on the flat. I got some raised beds that I may use for displays and things like that. But pretty much that's the way I garden. I grew corn. I grew pretty much all our food that way. Shed gardens with raised beds and containers.
Yeah.
But you and Gene do things totally different than the way we do. And the point I want to make here is there's no true and tried method. You got to do what works for you. Yeah. And I think about the way, excuse me, I got a little bit of work going on.
Uh-oh.
I say this about you guys. Your gardeners work art and functionality collide.
Yeah.
So talk to us about permacultural and potager gardening, what it means to you, and what the functionality and the art aspect of it is.
Okay. Well, like I said, I didn't grow up in a garden. Gene grew up in a garden. His father, they always had a garden. They had pigs, they had chickens, they had everything. And the way he gardened was like you do on the
row crops.
Yeah, just like row crops, and that's how they garden. So when I started gardening, I really didn't like to grow like that. You know, I wanted to, I didn't want all the weeds and the weed issue and all those things. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and I can't stand for a weed to be out there. So it was like, how can I grow this and I want it to be beautiful. I want it to be functionable, and I want an art form to it. And then I found a potager gardening, and I love history. I love the history of plants, of gardening. I love it. So in researching art and gardening, I found potager gardens, like the gardens of Versailles in France, and all these beautiful, magnificent gardens. And I was just like, oh my gosh, that's how I want my garden to look. And the potager garden is basically, it's a kitchen garden, but it's a kitchen garden with art and beauty and diversity. It's growing not only vegetables, but fruit and herbs and medicinal herbs and culinary herbs and flowers and roses and all of these things together. And that just is like, yeah, that's speaking my love language right there. So I wanted to, I wanted to grow my gardens like that. And I just felt that in the potager style, I could have more control of keeping my garden beautiful and neat and manicured, and still be able to grow tons of food and medicine and all the things that I wanted to grow, but also to create beautiful spaces with arches, with roses and flowers and habitat for pollinators and beneficial insects, and just basically creating a functioning, healthy ecosystem within my yard, within my garden.
Wow. So you're a permaculturalist, right?
I have my certification in permaculture design. Mm-hmm.
I would like for you to expand on that just a little bit. What is the definition of permaculture? Because I'm going to be completely honest with you. Mm-hmm. It has been a using term for me for years and years and years. And the definition has changed over years.
Yeah.
You can go online and search permaculture and get several different definitions of it.
Yeah.
So try to explain to us what permaculture is to you.
Okay. Well, permaculture is basically, it's just design. It's designing sustainable systems. And it's just using like a set of certain principles or practices to design sustainable homesteads or gardens or communities. Even businesses are designed using permaculture principles. So really, it is confusing. A lot of people get really confused about it. And I don't talk about it a whole lot on my channel. I just try to show it in action, because it is a little bit confusing to people. But really, all it is just a way to design sustainable systems. That's the easiest way I can put it. And it's basically one of the main principles of it is mimicking the way nature does things. It's just observing how nature does things and trying to mimic that and work with it instead of working against it with all of our human input. We still have to have human input, but it's just trying to work with nature instead of against it. And one thing, Jason at Petals from the Past, the way he always described it, he just said it's common sense gardening. That was his definition of permaculture.
That's the best definition I've heard.
Yeah, common sense gardening. And the cool thing about permaculture was it was coined, I guess is how you would say, by Bill Mollison and David Holmgreen in the 70s. in the mid 70s, and they discovered like this set of principles when they were observing and watching indigenous tribes and cultures and how they lived and how they did things, because they didn't have, you know, the plows and the tractors and the chemicals and all the things, all the amenities that we have to garden. And they were studying these tribes to see how they could, how they were able to sustain themselves and get their water and grow their food and do all their things without all of this equipment and these materials that we use. And they realized that's how they come up with like these principles, these set of principles to create and design these systems based on how the indigenous tribes were doing it. It's very cool.
So how do you become certified?
Well, you can do it online. There's different courses that you can take. I chose, when I decided to do it, when I do something, it's just like 100%, I'm in, let's do it, let's go, let's figure it all out. So I decided I wanted to go to a permaculture camp and learn, and just get involved and learn how to do it. You have to have so many hours. And I think it was 72 hours when I did it. You got to have 72 hours of study and hands-on applying these principles and working to receive your certification. So I went to this place it was in Tennessee. It's Summertown, Tennessee. It's Spiral Ridge Permaculture Farm in Summertown, Tennessee with Cliff Davis. And I went there for 2 weeks in October, stayed in a tent, froze a little bit.
Really at a camp?
Yeah. Well, it was his farm. It was his farm. But he had like campsites set up for, you know, the students to come and stay there. Or you had the option, you could go over to a commune that was real close by called The Farm, and you could stay with some of the local residents there if you wanted to.
Get a little dicey at this point.
It got a little dicey. So I decided I'd stay in my little tent on the at Cliff's place.
Now,
but
it didn't have any facilities, is this correct?
No. No
Okay,
facility.
I gotta get Gene's take on dropping you off there.
Okay. Be nice, Gene. Cliff might be watching this.
So I actually took advantage of it. I went to Kentucky. I dropped her off, and I didn't really want to drop her off because it was pretty scary. Like, it was kind of like that movie Wrong Turn. Some of the people on the way there, it was pretty freaky looking. So she was really crying and upset, and I didn't want to leave her.
Just for a minute.
And
just for a little minute.
It was almost like dropping your child off to daycare. So I dropped her off, and there's really not any cell service out there either. So I went hunting with a church group to Kentucky. So when I came back in 2 weeks, I was really like hoping I'd find her, because I was like telling her when I left, I said, look, something happens, you run down this way, 3 clicks, Mike over here, and I'll meet you at this store.
He went through and found a route, an escape route for me, just in case I needed it.
But
he told me how to go.
But anyway, when I showed back up, a lot of interesting people there at the camp. And you know, Tracy, you know, had a few beads in her hair, and I thought, oh my God, she done turned into one of those people. So
she had washed in 2 weeks, and she had beads.
Yeah, I was like, I'll be glad to get you home, get you a shower.
I took a shower.
Yeah,
I took a shower every day. I took a shower.
But you know, I can say this: it was really a great opportunity for her to really get in the grassroots of learning this.
Yeah,
and she really, it's hard to say, but it was really like a revival in her soul of gardening, and it put her on another level. Like it, you know, really enhances what you already know as far as a country farmer. Permaculture is just a way of really making things easier, thinking about things, looking at processes, and figuring out, well, should I put the chicken coop here, because the creek and the water, and it makes things simpler. It's really a scientific way to look at farming, and it's really helped us. It's helped her, and I'm really glad she went, because it really does help.
Yeah. I learned a lot when I was there. I learned a whole lot, not just gardening practices, but like water catchment, using renewable resources, edible food forest gardening. You know, I learned so many different things. We built cob ovens. We did all kinds of projects and just hands-on, and learned so many different sustainable practices that you could actually apply in in our life, in our farm, in my design business, helping other people to design sustainable systems. It was really, really, there was some sketchy stuff, but it was really a good thing.
What they do too is when they go and like Cliff, when they buy a piece of property, most normal people would just go out and buy that property and start put up a barn, put up this, instead of going there and really taking in the surroundings, sitting in a rainstorm, watching things, observing it before they build things.
Yeah.
They would take pigs and set out there to clean off the land instead of getting the bulldozer like we would do and stripping all this topsoil. So it's really pretty cool how they operate.
Yeah. Learned a lot of things when we were there.
So this is kind of an end thing, is you go to these permaculture schools, because I had never heard of it till I met you guys.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I hadn't.
Well, it's not, I would say that here in the South, it's not a very popular thing. Now, it's a lot more popular now than it used to be, but it's mostly like California, Australia. I mean, it's just the norm in Australia.
PDC.
Yeah, but in California, that's really popular out there. But in the South, not so much. It's not really a big thing here, but it is. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to teach the classes at Petals, and we put in a permaculture project there, because I just wanted to be able to share this with more people. And we saw a lot of from the time that I started teaching the classes there to my last class that I taught there, it greatly increased, and just the amount of people that had knowledge of it was tremendous. So I was happy about that.
With your own garden, you used some things that was really unique to me. You used fallen timber as your borders. And you also had this kind of flow thing with there, and you try to use as much natural products as you could, that you had access to, which really lent itself to its own little character of the garden.
A lot of stone.
A lot of stone. We love stone. What do you see? And people can go to your YouTube channel and see a tour of it, and I would highly recommend that. And the pictures and video will not do it justice, but maybe you can get a sense of how beautiful it is. Give us an idea of progression. Where are you at now? What's coming with your garden? What's coming with your homestead? What changes are you going to make, if any? And how are you evolving?
Well, the garden, I got so many plans. We got so many ideas, and this poor guy, he can't get a break. He can't get his list checked off because I'm adding 12 more things to it. But we're going to fence in the whole garden.
Yeah, the deer, we were out there the other day with the baby goats, middle of the day, and a deer runs out and is in the middle of the potager garden trying to eat, and we're trying to run it off.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we want to get a fence around the whole garden. And the fence is also going to act as trellises to be able to grow things on. So I think it's just going to be beautiful. It's going to be living walls going all the way around the garden. It's going to be gorgeous. So the fence is on the list. We're revamping our greenhouse. We've got some windows coming, and we're going to totally redo that greenhouse and turn it into like a citrus house and a grow house, just like for plant starts and stuff. That's on the plan. We're extending the garden and we're moving a lot of our orchard to the potager garden. So we're adding, on the left-hand side, we're adding like a whole other room. We're adding an additional room to the garden. and it's going to be an orchard and a little cut flower section and a plot for like a market garden plot where we can grow like
rows of corn, okra,
and watermelons and stuff like that, because you just can't grow. That's the thing with the potager garden too, is it's not necessarily meant for growing massive amount of foods to sell or anything like that. It's mostly just like your own personal grocery store is how I look at a potager garden. And so I want to add like a little market garden section to be able to grow more of like the row crop type things. And man, I don't know. We got so many plans, so many things to do.
We've got a lot of springs on the property. We're going to learn. I've been looking at solar, different things, how to irrigate our farm with that water, because using the county water with all the chemicals in it, it's really not good for the plants.
Plus, it costs a lot of money.
Spring right behind you there.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
In the creek, excuse me, the creek,
But we're going to put in some muscadines, a lot more grapes down that hill.
And the irrigation is a big thing, because right now none of our beds are irrigated. So this is the irrigation, me hand watering everything. And like right now with no rain, whoo, oh my gosh, it's hard just to keep things alive. So the irrigation system and doing it using our natural resource, that's a biggie on our list for the garden.
I saw you plant wildflowers.
Yes, we sowed a lot of wildflowers we got from y'all, but not many of them are coming up because right after we sowed them, no rain. We've had no rain, and
our soil is real sandy. So if it does come up a little bit, there's no moisture.
There's no water source up there. We did them by the road, so I don't know. We just need some rain.
I've seen them. A lot of them's come up. They're inch high, quarter inch. They need rain.
Yeah, I'm sad about that.
So one thing that we rather gathered while we was there that struck my interest, which was a lot of things, but your take on herbs and medicinal herbs, which has been a kind of a interest of mine. I really got blew away with your knowledge and the way you use them.
Yeah.
So I come back and I start thinking about putting I want to include it into our potager garden.
Cool. Yep.
We're having some issues with trellises. So from my aspect of it, and I come from a little bit of design. I'm not near the designer you are. I'm more the guy that put it in. You was one to design it. I'm more the guy that put it in. Yeah. So I don't have the eye. But I do know a little bit about it. And me and her is not in agreement with just putting these trellises everywhere. I think there should be a plan to the trellises so that it keeps their focus in on where it should be instead of willy-nilly putting the trellises.
Willy-nilly. I just want one.
So we're at the crossroads right now with trellises. And Gene, you may give me some good advice here just to give up.
And our pathways are not lining up. And our boundaries are not lining up. He wants to build this real small one and close me in. I'm like, no, don't close me in yet.
You know what? I think y'all need a designer to come out there and see y'all.
That's exactly what.
Yeah. So the next time Gene's work carries him this way, you got to come stay with us for a couple of days.
That's right.
I'm also a good marriage counselor when it comes to that.
We can do that late now.
Or that Roselle wine, we can discuss it over.
That sounds good. I just finished up my bottle you left me. That's some good stuff. That's good for you. That's a good one.
It is good for you. That's something we've been growing for a couple of years now. And I've got my yarrow growing, and I've got my list on other things I want to do. Just keep my hand got around to it. Got to prioritize things.
Yeah.
And make it happen. I did get a bunch of rocks in, so I got an idea how we want to lay it out as far as the borders and all goes.
Yeah. Awesome. I'll come see y'all.
Yeah, we need your help because I'm thinking smaller is better than bigger, and she's anyway. We need help. We need help. We need a common, calm voice to bring us through this.
Media. Somebody in the middle, yeah.
Sometimes you just need an outsider.
Yes.
Yeah.
Come in and just see things maybe a little bit different.
Yeah. So you're going to start growing for a farmer's market?
Well, last year we participated in a CSA. Orville Farmers Market down the road, well, not too far from us, has a CSA that she does with different farmers participate. And we participated. Whatever I had for the week, I took her. But that's really not the direction that we want to go. We want to be more of an educational farm, you know, more of an inspirational, educational farm. I'm not, I don't know. I'm not really, I'm more of a gardener and less of a farmer. I guess. I don't know. I don't really want to do the
we just really like
thing.
Providing for ourselves and our family, and our neighbors around us. We got some older people that live by us, and we just love taking them some vegetables and fruit and eggs.
Community outreach and just, you know, sustaining for our family, really.
I like working out
a little bit of that, and it is amazing how rewarding it is. When you
Yeah.
I wish I had time to do more of it, but it's extremely rewarding to brighten somebody's day with just something simple. Just a small visit, some flowers and some eggs or some corn or whatever.
It really is. And like our church has a program where they have an outreach, and they one Sunday a month they take food to the needy people and stuff. But you know, most of that food is just like boxed food, processed food. And we've talked about, like, one of our goals somewhere down the line would be to be able to supply some fresh vegetables and herbs and things like that into that program, maybe, hopefully one day.
Honey as well. Gene is an accomplished beekeeper.
Yes.
Do what now?
Gene is an accomplished beekeeper, so you can put the honey in there.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yep.
Yeah. Honey, y'all sent us home with. Didn't last long.
It didn't last long. It was delish.
Is it gone? We'll send you some more. We just harvested some, so we'll shoot you some in the mail.
Just hand deliver it. That'll be better.
Okay. All right, we'll do that.
Well, thank y'all so much for joining us. It was very inspirational to me. Anytime we can hang out with y'all, we enjoy it. We've become good friends, and I think it's partly due to our age. We're all in our mid-40s, and maybe we're mid-50s. But we just find you guys extremely amazing. We had the best time. I know I've said this before. Our hangout that we did about a month ago with you guys, and if I miss somebody, remind me. It was you guys. It was Jason and Brooke at Cog Hill. Mm-hmm. It was Wes and his family. Their new farm name is Big Little Farm. Is that right?
No, it's a Big Family Little Farm or Little Farm Big Family.
The Cattywampus bunch out of Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And then the head family, and the little girl just stole my heart.
Eleanor.
I know, Eleanor's cute.
But we just had the best. I hadn't laughed that much in a long time. If y'all don't know this, Gene can keep your belly rolling. I had the best time. I wish we could do it more often, but y'all stay so busy.
I know it. Maybe next year we can do it again and do another meet and greet at Petals, maybe. Yeah.
So check Tracy and Gene out at Just Dig It Farms on YouTube. Do you do Facebook, Instagram?
Yep. Facebook and Instagram.
TikTok?
No TikTok. Not yet.
You gotta
do TikTok.
Gotta do TikTok. Thank y'all for joining us. I hope you have a wonderful evening. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.